So first, I want to say I'm sorry. I really want your forgiveness. I was that IT ops guy that made you wait, sometimes 4 weeks for an instance. I did ignore the Nagios monitors. I was really a bad person. And it really had to do with the fact that I had really bad incentives. I operated a private cloud and an operations team, and you sent a request to me. I decided based on my incentives, yes, you'd go into my black hole of instantiation, or no. And it was more oftentimes no than yes. Then I got moved, something funny happened, to a software development applications team in Smart Grid. So the cruel joke was played on me, and I had to wait now. So I got to see a little bit of both sides. Around that time, I was also finishing my MBA, the University of Florida, and these managerial economics topics started coming up. Incentives matter, coordination costs, small teams, decentralization, mastering your process and controlling waste, and balanced measurement. And I got to thinking, wow, interesting. Wait, I'm not the reason IT sucked. I just had misalignment, bad incentives from the devs and the ops guys, right? We all were measuring the same different thing. And of course, what happens when you have so much conflict between dev and ops? Do you join a DevOps team? No, you go into technical sales. And the reason is because really, honestly, incentives are very aligned in technical sales. It's all about customer satisfaction, all about customer value. And then I started working there and I got exposed to something called DevOps. And I'm like, what? Small teams, incentive structures, coordination, hugs, empathy. Wow, that sounds like my MBA. This is what modern IT needs to look like. And I went out and I proclaimed the good news. Went to all my customers as a missionary in DevOps, right? I'm listening to a lot of Michael McDonald lately. It's all about Blue Eyed Soul. So, I dusted off my old goal book from GoldRat. I saw some John's videos. I read the Phoenix Project. I started talking, and I'm thinking, none of my customers scale. Why not? And I think you have to go back to the why not, right? Building a business case why. So if you look at DevOps, all about people and automation and technology and process, but the people side is the most important. I want to take you through kind of just a really high-level example. So let's say I have a process, pick your process, manufacturing, software development, whatever. There's really two things I can do to make it go faster, better, more with quality, right? I can change either my, do less human interactions, right? So do automation and tooling, so no more humans involved. Or I can do less or better human interaction, better. But really, ultimately, until the machines take over, the focus is going to always be human interactions. That's going to be where we're going to focus, right? So, DevOps is what modern IT needs to look like. And I fully believe that, right? Because it is the next frontier of the ultimate optimization question, which is all about human capital. And we've talked about it several times here, right? Eventually, you'll get through the tooling. I mean, that's going to work. So what challenges could you have with the business, right? They're going to focus on costs. There's two costs that we look at, financial costs. They're worried about non-standardization and decentralization and platform sprawl and the dreaded governance or agency costs, which I talk to a lot. And why do they think it costs a lot, right? Because we've really focused on cost as our only model, right? We've built these silos from top to bottom because why? Technology is ever changing and it's scary and it's operated by wizards. And so we operate that model. But I contend that cost not only comes from studies like we saw in the DevOps studies John talked about, but it also comes from these modern software innovations we had, which is all about modularity and abstraction, which ultimately reduce cost in the long run. But ultimately, you do have to address the governance model. And I love this framework, the principal agent framework from managerial economics, which talks about this principal hires an agent, has self-interest, more information, and then the principal spends a lot of time managing that agent because he doesn't have perfect information. And I say DevOps has an answer to that, right? It relies on good measurement, good metrics, good input back to the principal, right? And can control self-interest, right? So I see DevOps really being a good answer to this information asymmetry from the principal model. So I want to leave you with a word from our sponsor, the business. You guys rock. Please go faster and get more done. Make sure you do the right thing. And then I want to leave you with the answer from what we would say, hey, this is modern IT. I've got you covered. I got speed, agility, increased quality, but I also optimize human interactions, minimize decentralization costs, and I get more of my fun wizards together. Thank you, guys.
Hello, hello. All right, we've started the portion of the show that is called Open Spaces. Who here has been through an open space before? Okay, a few people. This is my favorite part of DevOps Days. The first time I went through a conference that had open spaces, it was actually the first Puppet Camp. But I went back to my company and I was just like, this was the best thing I've ever done. I got to learn so much on exactly the topics I cared about. So what we're going to do is we're going to have people propose ideas. We have a few on the board, but we're going to hopefully get some more than that. We're going to have people kind of propose an idea. It could be any idea you want. Either, I want to talk about topic foo. Tell me about topic foo. Like, I want to learn about it. I have a problem. I have an idea. There's really not a lot of rules. There are 2 rules in open spaces. One of them is a law of mobility. If you're in an open space and you're not getting what you want out of it, or you've gotten everything that you could possibly want out of it, you get up and you go to a different one. You leave. It's okay. Don't be offended if it happens to you while you're in an open space. People might just walk around. The other thing is that whatever happens, happens. Like, that's the only thing that could have happened because the right people are in the room. The right open space happens. If 3 people show up to an open space, you could found a movement like DevOps. If no one shows up, you could found a movement like DevOps. That did happen. So if you want to have an open space with 20 people to talk about something, you also can do that. Andrew, anything else to say about open spaces?
Awesome.
Yeah, Andrew loves open spaces. So
I always wanted to just have a conference that was all day open space, but no one would come to it. And it's not even that no one would come to it. No one could convince their company to send them to it. So the first Puppet Camp, and also all the subsequent DevOps days, the trick is to have open space, but you have to put some people with logos for companies they worked at. So like the first Puppet Camp had like Google, like Dell, like people that worked at these companies, and they're like, go see them, and then we would get them, and we could have conversations, and we could learn from each other. Because it's really, to me, this community learning from itself, going back to some of the themes I talked about earlier, is what actually moves us all forward. So get ready to talk to each other. You with me? So you're going to have them line up and...
So, yeah, we're going to have them line up, and then, actually, I got it. They can't hear me otherwise. We're going to have people line up, pitch an idea. You get like, I don't know, we'll say 5-10 seconds to talk about your idea. You get 30. Wow, Andrew's going to give you 30. I'm going to give you 5 to 10. We'll see who wins. Then, so you'll get a sticky note. You write your idea up. You'll slap it on the board, and we'll say, hey, who's interested in this? And then people will raise their hands, and that helps us figure out how many people are interested in that. We have 3 open spaces, and they're all downstairs. So there's basically a big set of white couches. There's going to be 2 open spaces there, one on kind of the first set and one on the second set. And then there's another room down there that has like through some glass French doors, and that's going to be the 3rd open space. So we're going to open spaces going on, and they're about a half an hour each, if I recall, from the schedule. All right, they're nodding their head back there. I got that. So who has ideas for open spaces? Anyone? You usually have one.
I'll teach people how to play werewolf if they want to play werewolf. So it's a social bluffing game. I suggest you play the rest of the day and into the night. It's my favorite way to break ice in a group of people, and also lets you learn a lot about the individual's ability to lie under pressure, which is a very, very important skill in DevOps.
Write that down. How many people think they might be interested in playing a game of werewolf? All right, we'll call that. I guess they're all the same size rooms, so we don't actually care what size they are. This is a first for me.
Solve a problem by not having it.
Yeah, I guess solving it. Yeah, until we have too many people. Okay. Does anybody, man, we're not getting volunteers up here. No, just come up here. Like, form a line, start right here. Yeah, form a queue. While I'm waiting for you, I'll pitch an idea. I'd like to talk about growth hacking teams. Basically, how do you grow teams? How do you hire people? How do you get the right people in the room? Like I said, I was at Puppet. We were 35 people when I got there. We're 500 now. I've done a little bit of this. So I love talking about it. Woo! I didn't know if we were going landscape or portrait. Gosh, everything's all ripped up.
So I always do that. That wasn't me. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Should have used DevOps. Anyway, the thing on that note, the thing I always try to do for an open space on day one of a DevOps days is the introductory to DevOps, which also bleeds into what do I do next. Heard a lot of stuff today. You might be trying to figure out which end to pick this up at. If that is of interest, I'd be glad to chat about it with you. And it is contextual. There's not one right answer. So.
You got to write down your idea. All right, so who wants to talk first steps of DevOps and next steps of DevOps? Was that roughly what you said? Okay, a few people. No, there's a few. Yeah.
So I put up the Docker share experience. My name is Jason Greathouse, work for Linkkit. We run Docker in production. We'd love to share our experiences with you, and if you're doing cool stuff with it, we'd love to hear about what you're doing.
I feel like we lost. All right, Docker and container experiences. Okay. That was already written on there. All right.
I'm used to people walking away with a microphone after I suggest my idea. So thanks for that. Who here is a remote dev/ops person? Okay. Yeah, so remote workers. Love to talk about that. I've been one for years. I think there's a lot of us out there. A lot of advantages and disadvantages. I'd like to talk about that.
Some of my favorite people don't wear pants. So who wants to be a remote worker? Or talk about it at least. All right. Anything else? Just write remote worker. Slap it up there. Where? Anywhere. Not important yet. We'll do some scheduling in a moment. I'd like about 6 more ideas. I'm not going to lie.
Docker orchestration selection.
Any more context?
No. Well, I mean, it depends. It depends on, I'm currently using Rancher. I know these guys back here are, so just, that's it.
Container scheduling, and shouldn't I write one too? No, Docker orchestration. Okay. Oh, we got to write that one down.
I guess mine's something that I want to learn about that we're trying to figure out a solution for, which is managing secrets in a Git repo. Like, there's some solutions we can't find something that we like. So.
Secrets, still not a solved problem. Just to let you know, out of every DevOps days I've been to, which this is going to be close to 20, 19 of them have had a secrets open space. So.
How you guys doing? I'm Dennis. I also work at Linkkit. One of the things I like to talk about today would be data in DevOps, SQL, schema changes in continuous delivery, and how you guys work around that. I'd love to hear your guys' experiences and ideas you've come up with.
It's all really, really easy until you have pesky things like data. 10, 11, okay. James White, where are you at? All right, I'm going to pitch something for him because I know he's been talking about it all day, and that's gamification of your technology path. Basically, he has an idea that if you've played Civilization or StarCraft, you start out with simple things and you go into more advanced technologies, and this is how you can map out an entire infrastructure. And it's a really neat idea, and I think he would love to talk to people about it. In fact, I'll volunteer him for it. Anyone? It's half the reason I came, honestly. So,
I think it'd be interesting to talk about the on-call experience people have, alerting strategies, incident management, postmortems, all that good stuff.
We're not here to assign blame, we're just here to figure out whose fault it is. All right, postmortems. I think we got about enough. We're going to do this again tomorrow, so if anything you learned today, keep in mind, this is a single-track conference, so all of us have heard the same content throughout the day. That can spawn ideas and content for an open space. You can spin out into it. Any of the lightning talks, sometimes you can get into a lot more detail and depth from one of those. So tomorrow, as you're listening to all the talks, be thinking throughout the day, hey, I might want to dig into this more because everybody's heard the exact same thing that you have. And so they all have the same context to share and learn in these open spaces. So what we're going to do next is do a little bit of scheduling here. If anybody cares deeply about these not occurring at the same time because they want to go to I want to go to DevOps Next Steps and I want to go to Werewolf and then I want to go talk about secrets, we want to make sure that those are not at the same time. We can't necessarily satisfy all constraints because obviously there's a lot of people here, but I can't be bribed. So if you want to come up here and bribe me to change the schedule to fit your needs, I'm willing to do that. What's the time frame for the first session? Yeah, my bad, just sitting back there. I don't have a schedule on me. 2:15? And what time is it now? All right, we're going to do the scheduling really, really quick. I'll do the rest of it afterwards. But right now, let's do Docker experiences and Werewolf. And how about remote work? So we'll do remote work in the French door room down there. We'll do... He wants to play Werewolf. I've already violated constraints. I see how it is. All right, we'll move remote work down. And we'll put in on-call and postmortems. Can we do that?
I don't know if I'd collapse these or not.
I might collapse them, but I haven't figured that out yet. All right, so everybody's got constraints. Things aren't going to work. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to have Docker and container experiences on the first set of white couches downstairs right when you get down to the basement. We're going to have Werewolf. Actually, I'm going to move Werewolf to the French door room because it's a louder thing. Werewolf is in the room through the French doors, and on-call and postmortems is on the second set of white couches downstairs. Go forth in open space. I'll set up the rest of the schedule shortly.
No. Like for today, for tomorrow, it's a food problem.
He's a local DevOps engineer.
Have him come by. Let's just have him come by. Test. Oh, okay. So as everybody's getting settled, we will also be doing a vendor presentation here on the on the main floor here. So if the conversations are finalizing and you want to come hear about what our sponsors are doing, we'll be doing one vendor presentation each open space. So hang tight. We got some cool stuff coming. In about 5 minutes, Elastic will be giving a demo here on the main floor. 5 minutes.